Yes, Marjorie, I understand. There are tempests and storms and howling winds and hail and ice, but they too shall pass. It was such an incredible privilege to bring Julian to life in her actual space and cell. And I really felt during the filming that there were times she was truly with us. You know, I felt as if Linda Loving becomes Julian, enters the stream of mystics across the centuries, actually glimpsed that unity that she wrote about so profoundly. A squirrel. Squirrels notice trees budding before we do. There she sits on the long-hanging branch, sitting there so surely on the swaying branch, chewing the bud she just picked. Her tail she uses as a balance pole, as does an acrobat. Snowdrops are blooming. One purple crocus blooms.
Part of the role of the anchoress, of course, was to be what we would now call a counsellor, that people from the local area would come to her to seek her spiritual advice or any other advice. She became the local guru, I think especially for women. She was a local girl and she was really writing for local people. You know, some of the analogies in her book are really geared towards the local people who would understand, like herring scales falling from eyes. But when you're on top of the fish market, you would know all about herring scales.
Forgive me. I often talk to myself, but when I do that, I am talking to you also, am I not? I listen to those God sends my way. In my younger days, I would see all. I would welcome all, any time of day. But I have found true speech cannot be when one is on fire with drink. As you may suspect, not all come with holy intent. Only in the morning are my shutters open. In this scene at the window in the beginning, we glimpse the heart of Julian as a person, and also the core of her theology, the importance of each individual, the importance of taking time to listen to the person who comes in grief or despair or fear or hope. And I believe that scene captures so well the core of her message and is something we could interpret and embody today.
So many come for spiritual advice or ghostly counsel, as they say. They speak of pain and loss, confusion and despair, fear and death. The sorrowing, the sick, the unwanted, the lonely, both young and old, rich and poor, all come to my window. No one listens, they tell me, and so I listen.
Julian is a very attractive figure in the church, and she has a very special message to offer. I suppose basically you could say her message is the inexhaustibility of the love of God. God loves us in all circumstances, and whether we are in grace or fall from grace, God's compassionate love is always there to welcome us back. I suppose you could say Julian doesn't merely say that God is loving, but that God is love. And there's a real difference in saying God is love from saying God is loving.
The voices, the accusing, condemning voices grew louder and louder till I cried out to God that He in His mercy would have peace to stop the voices. God heard my cries. The voices ended. The madness ended. All gave way to silence.
She had visions when she was incredibly ill, nearly died, in her late 20s, early 30s, and she had, I believe it was 16 visions or showings, and then she reflected on them for quite some time before she wrote down her final understanding of what they were.
My sight began to fail, and in my sleep, I saw the devil. I felt the feet had me by the throat. They were no human hands. I thought he would choke me to death. I cried out. Those about me with cool rays bathed my forehead. I could feel their hands holding me down. I reasoned they must not be seeing what I was seeing.
Julian allows herself to go full tilt into the terror, you see. And many of us, we hold back. We try to keep that terror at bay. She goes full steam ahead. And then when she grabs the crucifix and flings that out and says, "Oh, God, help me," and suddenly it all vanishes. You know, she realizes her utter dependence on God. She really faces fully into the terror and then is graced to know the fullness of God.
I chose this life of solitude to listen and to receive those God would send to me for healing. And they did come. One came ranting and raving, cursing and foul-smelling, tearing her hair in anger and rage. "Johnny, Johnny, Johnny! Damn the bishop who anointed you, and damn the king who hanged you! Damn the king who cares not for the poor!" She cursed in a rage, and I listened. "Cursed be God who made me heavy with you, and cursed be thy father who played with me to beget you. Oh, Dame Julian, for Christ's blood's sake, pray, Lady Julian, pray. I do not wish to take me life. I know it is a sin."
First of all, what you should listen for there is everything. Every gesture, every word. There's no wasted moment there. Everything that particularly Linda does there has meaning. And so you can't miss anything. You have to be really tuned in.
O Christ, more than my axis, you are the warp of my tapestry. I want to weave my life with colored threads of meadows and trees and silver and gold. Against the night you also create. But this age shall pass. It is passing, this age, my age. It is a fair tapestry. In its center is the crucified, bleeding in agony, surrounded by trees, suffering in the midst of beauty. The loving Christ, surrounded by trees of oak and holly. There are birds in flight, rabbits, pheasants, and every kind of fowl near a splashing stream. In the distance is a fair city. We have suffered in the midst of beauty. Life is a precious thing to me, and a little thing. My life is a little thing.
Every time I thought I would stop doing this performance, something would happen in a performance where someone would say to me, "This really touched me. This solved something for me. This was healing for me. This drew me to the Christ." And I realized it's a kind of backdoor evangelism, if you will, that people are so hungry for her hope. Especially today, I think we are. And her hope is so genuine and so grounded in gospel. And yet she had the courage and independence to be her own person and take great risks in her time. And I like to invite that risk from the viewer now.